be answered. Number 5, if you have any inquiries or encounter issues during the webinar, please contact Dr. Jonathan Ling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Sophia, to all of you. Dr. Sophia obtained her BDS from University of Otago in 2001. She joined the Ministry of Health in 2002, serving the district of Klang. In 2007, she pursued postgraduate training in the University of Malaysia. After graduating with Master of Public Health Oral Health in 2011, she joined the Malaysian Dental Council as the Senior Principal Assistant Director. She was appointed as the Secretary of the Council in September 2016. Dr. Sophia was one of the team members involved in the preparation of the Dental Act 2018 and Dental Regulations 2021, led by the Legislation and Enforcement Unit, Oral Health Programs, Ministry of Health, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I will pass the session to Dr. Sophia. Dr. Sophia, please.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Thank you for the kind introduction, Dr. Tang. As mentioned, I've been invited to give a talk on the Dental Act. So I'll share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for MDA Eastern Zone for inviting me to give this talk on Dental Act 2018. I hope it will be a session that will be useful to all practitioners. Okay. So a little bit of background on the legislations that regulates the practice of dentistry in Malaysia. Yeah, I'm sure all of you know that you were registered under Dental Act 1971, and we also call it as Act 51. Yeah, and prior to that, we had ordinance in West Malaysia, ordinance in Sarawak, and after 1971, after almost 50 years, we felt that there's a need to improve the Dental Act 1971. Hence, the progress to amend the Dental Act was initiated. The initial intention was to amend the Dental Act 1971. However, due to many changes that was proposed eventually, the Dental Act 1971 could not be amended just as Medical Act 1971. Hence, we had to repeal Dental Act 1971 and make a new act, which we call Dental Act 2018 or Act 804. Right? The number just shows the running number of the act. Right. So what are reasons for repealing the act? So the purpose would be to have a more effective regulation, to strengthen disciplinary procedures, and also to review fees and penalties, right? And with that, we have proposed the enforcement of the professional qualifying exam for the purpose of registration as a dental surgeon, include registration of dental specialists, which under Dental Act 1971 there was none. Registration of dental therapists. Under Dental Act 1971, there was no registration of dental therapists. With relation to applying practicing certificate, we will now be looking at the accumulation of CPD points by practitioners and also professional indemnity cover. And finally, to strengthen the enforcement capability and capacity. Right, so with that, we have the Dental Act 2018. and Dental Regulations 2021. So the process of it, for the Dental Act, it has to be presented and approved at the House of Representatives or Dewan Rakyat. So it was approved at Dewan Rakyat on 2nd April 2018. And following that, then Dewan Negara on the 4th of April 2018. The Act obtained its royal assent on 19 June 2018 and published in the Gazette on 26 June 2018. With the approval of the Dental Act, we had to prepare the dental regulations. That is why there is a 3 years gap. So with the dental regulations, only then we can enforce the Act. So it has been decided that the Act comes into operation on 1st January 2022. And the dental regulations were approved by the Council on the 26th November. And following that, the Minister of Health on 3rd December and published in the Gazette on 7th December 2021, and also coming into force on 1st January 2022. Now for the benefit of all participants, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but not all provisions of the Dental Act comes into force on 1st January 2022, because we have requested for 3 provisions to be enforced later on 1st January 2025, which are 3 provisions. The 2 provisions is in relation to practicing certificate, whereby the requirement for accumulation of CPD points and also having professional indemnity cover as a compulsory document when you apply for a practicing certificate will only be enforced on 1st January 2025. So meaning that for next year, for APC next year, you still do not have to show proof your CPD points and also indemnity cover. But it will be compulsory for 2025 APC. And for TPC, the requirement for PQE has also been postponed on 1st January 2020. Right, so this is just a framework of what the Act and regulations has. Right, so for the Dental Act 2018, there are 9 parts and 6 schedules. For your information, for the 6 schedules, 4 schedules are pertaining to dental therapists, 2 on qualifications and 2 on the scope of practice that they can practice in the private sector. And for dental regulations, because the dental regulations is process of the Act, so it has part 2 on Malaysian Dental Council only pertaining to the election process, part 3 on register and PQE, part 4 on dental specialist evaluation committee, the function and also the membership, part 5 on the registration of dental surgeon, dental therapist, dental specialist, and post-basic dental therapist. So it just spells out what are the process, what are the forms, application form, and what are the certificate that we are going to issue. Right? And part 6 is on disciplinary proceedings under the Malaysian Dental Council, and part 7 disciplinary proceedings under the Malaysian Dental Board. Right? So under the Dental Act 2018, we will have 2 regulatory bodies. One would be the Malaysian Dental Council, and one would be the Malaysian Dental Therapists Board. And part 8 is on miscellaneous, basically talking about the compulsory service. And in the dental regulations, we have 2 schedules. The first schedule is on the forms, and the second schedule would be on the fees. So for part 1, preliminary, it's just mainly on the interpretation of the Act. It's like a glossary. So what terminology is used in the Act is defined or interpreted in section 2. So I just would like to highlight on the fact that when you read the Act, there's difference between dental practitioner and practitioner. So if you read the Act and it states dental practitioner, then it means the dental surgeon, including the dental specialist and also the Division 2 dentist. And if it's stated as practitioner, then it includes the dental therapist, including the post-basic level. So part 2 of the Act is on the Malaysian Dental Council. So the functions of the council is spelled out clearly under the Dental Act 2018. The first one would be to recognize qualifications for registration of practitioners under this Act. So I'm highlighting the word practitioners here because it means that the council recognize qualifications for registration of dental surgeon and also dental therapists. Yeah. To approve postgraduate qualifications to register as dental specialists, to register and issue certificates to dental practitioners and also dental specialists, to determine the criteria for registration of dental specialists, to regulate examinations for registrations of dental surgeon. So this means the professional qualifying exam, or we call it PQE. Yeah? To regulate the period of compulsory service of dental practitioners, to regulate the standards of practice of dental practitioners, to regulate the ethics and professional conduct of dental practitioners. So this is where the Code of Professional Conduct comes in. To regulate the scope of practice of practitioners. Yeah. Again, the word practitioners here means the dental surgeons and also the dental therapists. And to do such other things as may be required or permitted to do under this Act. Now, the membership of the council, in total, there are 26 council members. By virtue of course, the president is the DG of Health and the dental registrar is the principal director, the principal director of Oral Health Services. Ministry of Health is the dental registrar. The DG of Health is the president. That is by virtue of course. And then we have council members who are appointed by minister. 6 dental surgeons, academic staff of dental faculties of the accredited local training institution. We have divided it equally, meaning 3 from the public sector and 3 from the private sector. And then we have 6 dental surgeons appointed by the minister, 3 from the public sector and 3 from the private sector. So C is for the academic staff and D for any other sector. Yeah. And also 2 dental therapists who are members of the board will be appointed by the minister to be council members. And then we have election. We have 4 dental surgeons from public sector resident in Peninsular Malaysia to be elected by dental surgeons resident in Peninsular Malaysia. 4 from the public in Peninsular, 4 from the private Peninsular, 1 from Sabah, 1 from Sarawak. So these are by election. Yeah. So in total, we have 26 council members. Right. The next would be the Malaysian Dental Therapists Board. So the functions of the board is a bit limited, so they don't approve or recognize qualification. That would be the functions of the council. Right. So basically, they register and issue certificates to dental therapists, post-basic dental therapists, to regulate any examinations for registration of dental therapists, to regulate the standards of practice of dental therapists, to regulate the ethics and professional conduct of dental therapists, and finally to do such other things as may be required or permitted to do under this Act. Right. And the membership of the board, in total, there are 16 board members. By virtue of post, the principal director of Oral Health Services would be the chairman of the board, and the head of profession of the dental therapist would be the dental therapist registrar. And we have 14 board members who are appointed by the minister. There is no election for the board members. Yeah. So 1 council member will be appointed as board members, and the rest would be dental therapists from various agencies or sectors. So now we are at part 4 of the Act. Part 4 of the Act is on registration of practitioner, and it has 4 chapters. So chapter 1 is on the register, right? So the dental registrar and the dental therapist registrar both have the function of issuing certificates, yeah, and also maintaining the register. Now, the name of a practitioner can be removed from the register if the practitioner has passed away, no longer practice dentistry, after due inquiry by a fitness to practice panel found to be unfit to perform his professional duties, or after due inquiry by council or the board found to have been registered through an error or was not at the time entitled to be registered. So with these 4 provisions, the names can be removed from the register. Right, in terms of chapter 2 registration, so there is registration for dental surgeon, dental therapist, dental specialist, and also post-basic dental therapist. So what are the requirements to register as a dental surgeon? Right, we have divided into 2. Now, the first requirement to register as a dental surgeon is you must be a Malaysian citizen. Yeah, and then we look at the qualification. Now, for qualifications granted by an accredited local training institution, meaning the local dental faculty, we have currently 13 dental schools providing dental training, producing dental surgeons. So if their qualifications are granted by the local training institution, they have to be certified by the Dental Qualifying Committee to have fulfilled the requirements of the professional qualifying exam, meaning that they still have to sit for the PQE, but the PQE would be embedded during their training period. Yeah, so they'll be taking the PQE during their study, right? And C, proven to the satisfaction of dental registrar that he is a fit and proper person and is of good character. So for this C, it applies to all applicants when they want to register or be granted a TPC, temporary practicing certificate. Right, so sub 1 is on Malaysian citizen with qualifications from local training institution. Yeah. Now, what about those not from local training institution? Then first, the requirement would be the dental training institution that they go to, yeah, must meet the standard of dental training and examination specified by the council. Yeah. B is common, and C is having fulfilled the requirements under paragraph A and B, pass the PQE conducted by TQC. Meaning they have to complete their study overseas and then come back and sit for the exam. So if they pass the PQE, then they will be eligible to register as a dental surgeon. Yeah. Now, what about registration as a dental therapist? A Malaysian citizen with qualifications are listed in second schedule can register as a dental therapist. Yeah. So currently, the qualifications listed in second schedule of the Act is only from one institution, which is the Institusi Latihan Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia, based in Penang. Yeah. Right. What are the restrictions on registration? Malaysian citizen being found guilty of offence involving fraud, dishonesty, or moral turpitude, or an offence punishable with imprisonment, whether in itself only or in addition to or in lieu of a fine. After due inquiry, been found to be guilty of infamous conduct, contravene any provision of the Act, name has been removed from the register outside of Malaysia, or after due inquiry by a fitness to practice panel found to be incapable. Right. So if an application comes in and the applicant has the following grounds, then we can restrict the registration, meaning they can be rejected. The application can be rejected. So section 34 is on registration as dental therapist. So a practitioner whose name does not appear in the specialist division of the register shall not practice as a dental specialist in that specialty. And the requirement for a person to register, to apply to register as a dental specialist, they must fulfill this following requirement. Therefore, A, registered in Division 1 of Dental Register, meaning they have to be registered as a dental surgeon first before they apply to register as a dental specialist. E, holds any postgraduate specialist qualification as specified by the council, meaning their postgraduate qualification must be approved by the council. And C, fulfills the requirement of and has been recommended as a specialist by the Dental Specialist Evaluation Committee. In short form, we call them DSEC. Yeah. So they must be recommended by the DSET that they are eligible to be recommended to register as a specialist. Now for registration as a post-basic dental therapist, similarly, like a dental surgeon, they must already be registered as a dental therapist, and their qualification is listed in third schedule of the Act, right? So similarly, like second schedule, currently only qualifications awarded by the Institusi Latihan KKM Penang is in the list. And in the third schedule for post-basic dental therapists, there are 4 disciplines. The disciplines would be orthodontics, periodontics, oral surgery, and pediatric dentistry. So there are 4 disciplines for post-basic dental therapists. The Act also allows for conditional registration. So this is for any person whose qualification granted by an accredited local training institution certified to have fulfilled the requirements of the PQE. So this person can request for conditional registration. This is usually given to foreigners who studied locally. So when they want to go back to their country or they want to go overseas, then the country would require that they must show proof that they are registrable at the country of training. Yeah. So with that, we will be giving them conditional registration. However, this conditional registration does not make them eligible to be granted a practicing certificate. Yeah? So this is just a conditional registration to say that yes, they fulfill the requirement to be registered, but not to practice in Malaysia. Now, chapter 3 is on practicing certificate. Yeah. So this is where most of the interest would come in for all the participants, yeah, in terms of practicing certificate. So we have for practicing certificate, we have 2 practicing certificate. One is annual practicing certificate, APC, and the second would be temporary practicing certificate, TPC. Yeah. So when the Act states practicing certificate, it covers the APC and also TPC. So any person who practices dentistry shall have a valid practicing certificate, and the practicing certificate shall specify the principal practicing address and all other places of practice of the practitioner. The application shall be accompanied by evidence of sufficient CPD points obtained as specified by the Council or the Board, and evidence of professional indemnity cover. As mentioned earlier, both this A and B will only be enforced for 2025. Yeah. And then the application shall be accompanied by evidence of approval or registration under Act 586 for every private healthcare facility to be entered in the practicing certificate. Yeah, so if you are going to work in private clinic, the private facility must be registered under Act 586. The fee as prescribed in the 4th schedule and any other documents or evidence as may be required by the registrar. So a person who has been registered within 2 years of applying for practicing certificate shall be exempted from showing evidence of sufficient CPD points as required. Meaning that if you are a new registrant, let's say you register in January and you have been called to do compulsory service in June, then you have to have an APC to practice. So when you apply for APC in June 2022, we will not be asking for your CPD. Of course, this provision is only going to be enforced in 2025. So let's say the person registered with the council on 1st January 2025. Yeah. And then he has been offered to do compulsory service to start in June 2025, then he does not have to show proof of CPD points. Now, practitioner who fails to obtain sufficient CPD points, yeah, may appeal in writing to the president if you are a dental surgeon or dental specialist, or to the chairman of the board if you are a dental therapist or a post-basic dental therapist. So that was on practicing certificate. Section 38 is on annual practicing certificate, APC. Yeah. So for the application of APC, it must reach the office of the registrar not later than the 1st of November of the year prior to the year for the which the application is made. So if this year, if you are going to apply for your APC, you have to apply not later than 1st November. Right, so this is a bit different than Dental Act 1971, where it is stated not later than 1st of December. Yeah, and if you are applying for the first time, meaning you just registered, it may be made at any time during the year and granted APC for the remainder of the year. APC shall be enforced until 31st December of the year, right? And failing to apply for the APC shall be deemed to be suspended from the date the current APC lapses. So if you, for next year, if you do not apply APC 2023 and you only apply on 1st February 2023, then you are deemed to be suspended from 1st January 2023 until you apply for your APC. So once your APC, if your APC is approved on 1st February 2023, then your suspension will be lifted. Yeah? Right, so that is under subsection 2. So, but the suspension will still be recorded. Yeah, if you want the suspension to be removed from your record, you must, within 30 days of the date of suspension, appeal in writing to the council or the board. So that is on APC, yeah, Annual Practicing Certificate, where it is stated that application must be no later than 1st November. And if you do not apply the following year, you will be automatically suspended. Yeah, and if you apply, the suspension will be lifted. If you want the suspension record to be removed, you have to appeal within 30 days. Yeah? In summary, that is on APC. Section 40 is on TPC, Temporary Practicing Certificate. So TPC, we issue to non-Malaysian citizens. Yeah, if they want to practice as with TPC as a dental surgeon, the first requirement would be they must be already registered outside of Malaysia. So new graduates who has not been registered outside of Malaysia, they cannot be given a TPC. And if he's applying for TPC as a dental surgeon, he must pass PQE or holds a qualification granted by an accredited local training institution. Yeah. And then for TPC application, the application for TPC is by the employer or the sponsor. The application of TPC is not by the applicant. So this is different from APC. Yeah? For APC, the application is by the applicant. But for TPC, the application is by the employer or the sponsor. For TPC as a dental therapist, as usual, registered outside of Malaysia as a dental therapist or equivalent, holds any qualifications listed in the second schedule. Yeah, and also offer of employment or sponsorship. Now, the TPC shall be enforced for a maximum period of 12 months. The holder of TPC shall not have more than one practicing address, except with the approval of council or the board. The registrar may cancel TPC granted at any time. Yeah, and as long as he holds a TPC, he will be deemed as a registered dental surgeon or dental therapist. So he is subjected to whatever directive or code or guidelines that is enforced on practitioners. Now, the dental registrar may issue a TPC to a person holding a specialist qualification. Yeah, and then if the dental registrar thinks that he is fit to practice as a dental specialist, then he can be given a TPC to practice as a dental specialist and state the specialty he is allowed. Now, for the information of the participants here, For the dental specialists, we have 12 specialties. 12 specialties. I'm sorry. So what are the privileges of having a practicing certificate? Why do you need to have a practicing certificate? I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this, but this is something that we would like to highlight to you, that a person, a practitioner who has a practicing certificate shall be entitled to charge reasonable fee for professional aid, advice, visit, or dental treatment, and to charge for the value of any dental appliances rendered, made, or supplied by him to his patients. Right, so by having a practicing certificate, you are eligible, you are entitled to charge your patient. So if you do not have a practicing certificate, the patient can not pay whatever fee that you have charged them. Yeah, and no person shall be entitled to recover in any court any charges referred to in subsection 1, meaning the treatment and also the appliances, unless at the date when the charges were accrued, he was a dental practitioner or dental therapist and had a valid practicing certificate. So when we say valid practicing certificate, it means that all practicing address must be in the APC or TPC. Section 42 is on display of certificates. In the principal practicing address, for those of you who are working in more than one clinic or one facility, in the principal practicing address, you must display the certificate of registration and also the current practicing certificate. So if you are a specialist, you have to display your registration certificate as a dental surgeon, registration certificate as a dental specialist, and also your APC. Yeah, and then if the second clinic, it is suffice for you to display only your practicing certificate. Now, this exception is given to those in public healthcare facility or in the university, and failure to comply, you can be fined up to 20,000 ringgit. Right, section 43 is on practicing as a dental therapist. Now, dental therapists will be allowed to practice in the private sector. Yeah, so if you are going to employ dental therapists, or if you are a dental therapist going to work in the private sector, you must remember that in the private sector, dental therapists must be under direct supervision of a dental surgeon. Yeah, they cannot practice independently. So direct supervision has been spelled out, which means a dental surgeon must be present at all times in the healthcare facility when the dental therapist carries out any treatment according to the treatment plan approved by a dental surgeon. Yeah, and a dental therapist who practices dentistry in the private sector shall carry out procedures listed in the 5th schedule only. Yeah. So you must, if you're employing dental therapists, first off, they must be under direct supervision, meaning if there is no dental surgeon, she is not to practice. And secondly, they must practice according to what is listed in the list. So if you are a dental therapist, you can carry out procedures in the 5th schedule. If you are a post-basic dental therapist, you can do procedures which are listed in the 5th schedule and 6th schedule only in relation to the discipline for which you are qualified. Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, in the 6th schedule, there are 4 disciplines. So if you are a post-basic dental therapist with orthodontics discipline, then in the private sector, you can do procedures in the 5th schedule and 6th schedule only on the orthodontics part. Yeah, so you can't do procedures in the 6th schedules in perio or surgery or pediatric dentistry. Yeah. So that must be made clear. A dental therapist who practices dentistry in the public sector shall carry out dental procedures only under the supervision of a dental surgeon in the public sector. In terms of notification of change in address, we shall notify the registrar any change in home address or practicing address within 30 days of such change, and failure to comply can be fined up to 20,000. Under section 45, any notice or correspondence required to be sent, we will send it to your principal practicing address, yeah, and it will be deemed as have been served. Yeah, so if you're in your APC, you have 5 practicing address, we will send a letter to the main practicing address, yeah. So if it is sent to that practicing address, it is deemed as being served. Section 46 is on signing of MCs, dental certificates and other documents, yeah. Section 47 is on community service. So a dental practitioner who intends to practice dentistry at any location under the healthcare facility stated in the practicing certificate as a community service for the period of not more than 7 consecutive days and for a total of not more than 14 days in a year, you must obtain approval in writing from the dental registrar. For dental bodies corporate, a dental body corporate may carry on the business of dentistry if it carries on no business other than dentistry or some business ancillary to the business of dentistry, and at least half of the members of the board of directors of the dental body corporate or company are dental surgeons. Under Dental Act 1971, it is stated as all board members must be dental surgeon. Right. So under Dental Act 2018, we have amended to at least half. Yeah. Section 50 is on carrying out dental procedure. So a person who is pursuing a course of study in dentistry, either as a dental practitioner or dental therapist in any local training institution, may carry out in pursuance of such course of study, any dental investigation, examination, or treatment of patients in any hospital, clinic, health center, or other institution of this section, provided that it is under the control and supervision of a dental surgeon who holds a valid practicing certificate. So this is to cover students practicing dentistry. So they can do in other institution other than in the university, but it must obtain the approval of the DG of Health, and also it must be under the control and supervision of a dental surgeon. Right. A person who is pursuing a course of study as a dental therapist shall only carry out dental investigation, examination, or treatment of patients as listed in the 5th schedule or 6th schedule. Yeah. So for dental therapists, even in the training, during training, you are only allowed to do procedures in the 5th and 6th schedule. So that is on part 4 of the Act on the registration and also practicing of dentistry. Right? So part 5 is on the disciplinary proceedings. So under section 51, the council shall have disciplinary authority over all practitioners. So that includes the dental therapists, and the board shall have disciplinary authority over all dental therapists registered under this act. So we must remember that the council and the board only has jurisdiction on either the dental therapist or dental practitioner registered under this act. So for those not registered for illegal practice, it is not under the council or the board. That would be under the enforcement unit of Ministry of Health. So this is the disciplinary authority of the council or the board. Yeah. So if a person, a practitioner, has been found guilty of infamous conduct in any professional respect, contravene any provision of the Code of Professional Conduct or any guidelines endorsed or issued by the council or the board, allows an unregistered person to practice dentistry on the premise used by or under the control of such practitioner in the performance of his professional duties, D, by his presence, countenance, advice, assistance, or cooperation, has enabled an unregistered person whether described as an assistant or otherwise to practice dentistry. E, practices dentistry or provides dental services in premises in which an unregistered person practices dentistry. Yeah, so for C, D, E is more on covering, allowing unregistered person to practice. Yeah. So for F, it's in relation to a dental practitioner. Yeah, so that is only under jurisdiction of the council, not the board. Yeah, so if a dental practitioner has been found to allow a dental therapist to practice dentistry in the private sector when not under the direct supervision of a dental surgeon who holds a valid annual practicing certificate, then you can be charged. Yeah. Similarly, if you allow a dental therapist to do procedures not in the 5th schedule, you can also be brought to disciplinary authority. And for dental therapists, if you practice more than what is listed in 5th schedule, you can either be brought in front of the council or the board. For dental practitioner, allowing a post-basic dental therapist to do procedures not listed in 5th schedule or 6th schedule, you can be brought in front of the council. And for the dental therapist, either the council or the board. So it depends. If the complaint comes in and it involves the dental practitioner, then it will be dealt by the preliminary investigation committee and then the board. If it's only in relation to dental therapists, then it goes to the disciplinary committee and the board. So for cases like K, L, M, and O, yeah, convicted by a court in Malaysia or elsewhere of any offence punishable with imprisonment, whether in itself only or in addition to or in lieu of a fine. So that is decision made by the court. Yeah. Obtain registration by fraud or misrepresentation, not at the time of your registration entitled to be registered, name removed from the register or contravene any provisions of the Act. And for those kind of cases, it will go straight to the council without having to go through PIC. Similarly, go straight to the board without having to go through the disciplinary committee. So under section 54, it is the classification of complaints. So if a complaint comes to us, yeah, where does it go to? So if we receive a complaint on a registered practitioner, it will be forwarded to the complaints committee. The complaints committee will classify the complaint. So they will either recommend that the complaint goes to the PIC, disciplinary investigation committee, disciplinary committee, council, board, or principal director. Now, these are the disciplinary punishment that the council or the board may exercise. Yeah. The first, the most serious, severe punishment would be order the name of the practitioner removed from the register. Yeah. So your name is removed from the register, then you are no longer considered as a registered practitioner. B, order the name of practitioner to be suspended from the register for a period things fit. So the council or the board may suspend your name from the register. So for that period of time, let's say if the suspension is for 6 months, then for 6 months, you are not considered as a dental practitioner and you are not to practice dentistry. Yeah. Order the practitioner to be reprimanded. Yeah, so the reprimand is just a scolding. And also the lightest would be caution or advise the practitioner. Now, following the punishment mentioned earlier, the council or the board may suspend the application of the punishment. Yeah, so the four punishment mentioned earlier, the council may suspend the application of the punishment subject to such conditions or as the council or the board thinks fit, which may include any of the following for a period not exceeding 2 years. So either direct the practitioner to seek medical treatment, direct such conditions relating to the practitioner's practice of dentistry, or the provision of dental services as it considers appropriate, be imposed on the practitioner's registration, direct the practitioner to undergo educational courses or programs, or direct that the practitioner report on his dental practice to such practitioners as determined by the council. Yeah. Now, any person who is aggrieved by the order made against him by the council and in pertaining to the disciplinary punishment, may appeal to the High Court within 30 days of the date of the making of the order, and the appeal shall be subject to rules of court applicable in the High Court. Yeah. So if you are aggrieved by the decision by the council, then you appeal to High Court. So, but if you are aggrieved by the decision made by the board, you make appeal to the council. So part 6 of the Act is on offences. So these are all offences in relation to illegal practice. 62, 63, 65, 67, 68, 69. Yeah. So with illegal practice or covering for that matter, the fine is maximum of not more than 300,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 6 years. Yeah, so for dentists, Division 2 dentists who falsely describe vocation, they can be fined up to not more than 50,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 1 year. 66 is an offence that you must be aware of. Yeah, Section 66, offences relating to practicing certificate. So if you practice without a valid practicing certificate, you can be fined up to 50,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 1 year. If you knowingly practice dentistry with a person who does not have a valid practicing certificate. Now the key word here is knowingly, meaning you know that the person does not have a valid practicing certificate, but you still practices with them, then you can be fined up to not more than 20,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 6 months. Now, if you employ a person who does not have a valid practicing certificate to practice dentistry, then you can be fined up to not more than 100,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 2 years. As mentioned earlier, if you have been found guilty on this Section 66, you shall not be entitled to recover any fee, charge, reward, disbursement, or cost incurred during the time when you or any other person mentioned in this section does not have a valid practicing certificate. So part 7 is on the enforcement. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into enforcement because at our level, the council does not deal with enforcement. The enforcement would be conducted by the enforcement unit at the Ministry of Health, right? So they have authorized officers who has been authorized, given surat kuasa to function as enforcement officer. Yeah, so they will be given an official authority card. So if an enforcement officer goes to your clinic, you can ask them to produce the official authority card that has been issued. Yeah. They have the as a practitioner, you have a duty to assist the authorized officer. This authorized officer has the power to seal as forfeiture of proceeds, yeah, and they can institute prosecution. Part 8 of the Act is on miscellaneous, compulsory service, period of service, power of minister in terms of compulsory service, and also Section 81 is on the prescribed fees listed in the 4th schedule. I'll go back to the compulsory service. Compulsory service now is no longer only in the public service sector. It can be done also in the private sector. So for currently, the council, hopefully the council soon will come up with a guidelines on doing compulsory service in the private sector. The period of compulsory service is mentioned in the Dental Regulations 2021, which states the period of compulsory service is not less than 12 months. So this is the prescribed fee listed in the 4th schedule. So for registration of dental surgeon, the fee is 300 ringgit. So basically, whatever fee that has been charged under Dental Act 1971, the fee has doubled. Yeah. Registration of dental surgeon, previously 150, it is now 300 ringgit. Conditional registration, previously there was none. Now with conditional registration, it's going to be 300 ringgit. Registration as a dental specialist per specialty is going to be 1,200 ringgit. Now, if you require a copy of certificate of registration, be it as a dental surgeon or dental therapist, there will be a charge of 100 ringgit. For registration as a dental therapist, 50 ringgit. Registration as a post-basic dental therapist, 200 ringgit. If they require a copy of their certificate of registration, they will be charged 50 ringgit. Now, for annual practicing certificate, it's going to be 100 ringgit per practicing address with a maximum of 300 ringgit. So if you're going to practice in one clinic, so you pay 100 ringgit, 2 clinics, 200 ringgit, 3 clinics, 300 ringgit, 4 clinics, 300 ringgit. Yeah, so the maximum of 300 ringgit. If your request a copy of annual practicing certificate, it can be charged up to 50 ringgit. If you are making amendments, change of particulars or address on the APC, you have to pay 30 ringgit. So if you have maxed out, you have 3 practicing address, and then middle of the year, June, you want to add another clinic, we don't charge you another 100 ringgit, but we will charge you 30 ringgit for change of particulars. Similarly, if early of the year you're working at clinic ABC, and in June you want to change C to D. So you early of the year you're working in ABC, and then June you want to work at ABD. Then it is straight 30 ringgit for the change of particulars or address on the ABC. Charge of late application of APC. If, as mentioned, the application for APC is no later than 1st November. So if we receive your application after 1st November, you will be charged a late application fee of 100 ringgit. TPC is 200 ringgit. TPC for a specialist per specialty is 50 ringgit. Copy of TPC is 50 ringgit. Evaluation for PQE. So if you want to apply to sit for PQE, we will have to evaluate whether you are eligible to sit for PQE first. So that evaluation is 300 ringgit. That does not include the fee for exam. Yeah, the exam fee is a different fee. Search on or extracts from the dental register. So if you are requesting extracts from the dental register, we will charge fee of 500 ringgit. If you require a letter of good standing to be issued, it's going to be 50 ringgit. Translation of your certificate of registration or practicing certificate, because the certificate issued to you is in Bahasa Melayu. If you want to go overseas to register for exam or whatnot, and you require an English translation, it's going to be 100 ringgit. Guidelines issued by the council, this is hard copy. Of course, all the guidelines, soft copy will be available on the website for free. So if you require a hard copy, we will charge 30 ringgit. But currently, there's no guidelines available, hard copy available as of now. Yeah. And if you have been there is a disciplinary proceedings against you, yeah, and you require a copy of the records, yeah, the notes of proceeding, then we will charge you 200 ringgit, 250 ringgit, sorry. The first copy is given for free, but if you require more copies, then we will charge 250 ringgit. So that is on section 81 on fees. Section 82 of the Act is on Code of Professional Conduct, where it states that the council shall establish the Code of Professional Conduct to be observed by all practitioners to extent and in such manner as it considers appropriate. Yeah, so the council will come up with a code and all practitioners must follow. So for your information, currently we have Code of Professional Conduct 2008. So that is the current code that is currently in force. We will have a new code on the first, going to be enforced on 1st July 2022. Yeah. We will publish it on our website probably on 1st June. Yeah, but it will only be enforced on 1st July 2022. So practitioners must comply with the provisions as specified in the code. So, and if it comes to the knowledge of the council that there is an alleged breach, the matter shall be referred to the complaints committee and then disciplinary investigation. Section 83 is on guidelines and directives. So the council or the board may issue guidelines and directives as the council or the board considers necessary or expedient. It shall be complied by all practitioners, and all practitioners who fails to comply shall be subjected to disciplinary authority. Yeah, so 85 is required information. So the council or the board may call for such information as it may require to be furnished by any practitioner. And it must be furnished within 30 days. So any change in the information should be notified to the council or the board within 3 months. And failure to comply can be fined up to not more than 20,000. So part 9 of the Act is on repeal, savings and transitional. So section 93 states that with the enforcement of the Act, the Dental Act 1971 is repealed. And the council established under the Repeal Act is dissolved in 6 months from the appointed date. So the appointed date is 1st January 2022. So the council, which was established under Dental Act 1971, is currently still currently working as council members, but new council members will be appointed to start their function on the 1st July 2022. Right? So section 9 has savings clause for transfer of powers, existing contracts, membership of dissolved council, savings for practicing certificate, meaning that for those of you who has already been issued practicing certificate for 2022, you can still, that practicing certificate is still valid. You do not have to request for a new practicing certificate issued under Dental Act 2018. So that is for 2022. Yeah, but next year, 2023, you will be receiving practicing certificate with a new format. Similarly, for savings for register. So for those of you already registered under Dental Act 1971, you will be automatically registered under Dental Act 2018. You don't have to re-register. Yeah? I just would like to highlight to you under Dental Act, Dental School, Section 102. A Malaysian citizen who graduates from any of the dental schools listed in the second schedule to the Repeal Act within 5 years of the appointed date shall be eligible to be registered under Section 31 of the Act. So it means that those who are currently studying, in universities in the second schedule, which means the recognized list, you have up to 2026, to complete your studies and come back and register, because 2027 all have to pass professional qualifying exam. Right, so that is on the Act, Dental Act 2018. So the dental regulations, under Section 92 of the Dental Act, the Council, with the approval of the Minister, makes the following regulations. So these are the parts in the regulation, which I have mentioned just now. So part 1 is preliminary, part 2 on Malaysian Dental Council on the election process, part 3 on the register and professional qualifying examination. Part 4 on Dental Specialist Evaluation Committee, part 5 on the registration, how do you register, what are the requirements, what are the forms, what are the certificates going to be issued to you after you have registered. Part 6 on disciplinary proceedings under the council, part 7 by the board, and part 8 on miscellaneous on the compulsory service bid. Right, so if you want more details, you want to get access to the Act, it is on public domain in the Malaysia Federal Legislation. It's a AGC, AGC lah, Jabatan Peguam Negara Malaysia. So, you can go to the website. You go to list of PUA, yeah, and then you just go to 443. 443/2021 is the dental regulations, yeah. So this is the Akta Pergigian, the BM version of the Act. This is the English version of the Act, and this is the Dental Regulations 2021. So that is only one document, but it has BM and BI version in one document. Yeah. So with that, I thank you for the invite. But before I end, I just would like to highlight to you that the TPIMS has been closed on 1st January because it doesn't comply with the Dental Act 1971 provision. Yeah, we have a new system coming up. We have been informed that it will be available to be used in the near future. We are not really sure when. Hopefully by, if not April, probably in May. Yeah. So it is called Malaysian Healthcare Practitioner System. And the system we have four regulatory body, Malaysian Optic Council, the Allied Health Council, the Malaysian Dental Council, and also the Malaysian Dental Therapists Board. So all four will be put under this system. Right, so this is the inside of the system. Right, so we will be making announcement on the availability of the system in our website once it is available to be used. Yeah. So with that, I thank you. And I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Sophia. Now I would like to open the floor to questions. If you have any questions from the floor, if you have any, ladies and gentlemen, please type into the chat box. Okay. All right, I do have some for you, Dr. Sophia.
Okay.
First question, what is the implication to a practitioner if he or she is charged bankruptcy for practice?
He is charged what?
Bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy.
Yeah.
No, he can practice.
Still can practice?
Yeah.
As long as they have the APC, is it?
Sorry. He can practice. We will issue him with APC.
Okay, so there's no implication then.
No.
And then the second question that I have here is, how does specialist graduate not serving in government can register with the NSR?
Sorry. Specialists not
Specialists who,
working with government.
Yeah. They go on their own expenses.
Yeah.
Whether it's a specialist from recognized university or most of it overseas or even the one. So they register with the NSR.
Okay. There's no NSR.
Yeah.
NSR is now under medical, right? So to register with the MDC as a specialist, you can make application. The information is on our website. So if you're talking about those already in the system, those already specialists, graduated specialists now working, you can go to our website. There is the part on specialist registration.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try sharing. Let's see if this will. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so this is our website. So you go to registration as dental specialist. Yeah. So the requirement is here. So this is in the Act, Section 34. I've mentioned you have to have postgraduate qualifications specified by the council, so on and so forth. So we have put in these are the general criteria. The program training program shall not be less than 4 years full time, and these are the specialties, 12 specialties that I have mentioned. And then if you click to one specialty, it will go to the whatever qualification that is approved by the council. Of course, this list is dynamic. So if there is qualification not in the list, it can be considered whether if it fulfills the requirement. Yeah. So if you are interested in, if you are, okay, so there's two categories that we're looking at here. One is those already existing. So if you are already graduated, then you go to whatever specialty that you want to register. Please look whether the qualification is in the list. So if it is not in the list, you still can apply by sending us your qualification, and then we will forward it to the committee to evaluate whether this is a specialist training. Yeah. So for each specialty, we have the dental specialty subcommittee. So each specialty has a committee to look into whether that the training that you want to register as a specialist is equivalent to the criteria that is determined by the council. Yeah. And then if you have the qualification in the list, then you can apply using Form 19 and the declaration form.
Okay.
Right. So if for if you are intending to do postgraduate training, then you can also look at this qualification to see whether the university that you want to go to, the program that you want to take is in the list. If it's not in the list, you can still inquire with the council whether the program that you want to go to is going to be recognized as a specialty training.
Right, but actually this one, even the existing specialists that have been registered with NSR are not in here yet, right? Because we just go through the MDC actually just asked us to send all our relevant documents again. February this year?
Yes. February or March?
And it was 28th of February. That's what I remember.
28th February was the DSEC meeting, Dental Specialist Evaluation
Yeah,
Committee.
the dental specialist one.
So
it's actually not active yet, right? Everyone is still pending for approval, right?
For those that has been approved, recommended by the dental specialist, DSEC, that they can register, they would have received email informing them to submit the form. So if you have not received that email, you can, and I'm assuming that you're talking about those already submitted, the pre-registration application. You can write into the secretariat, and ask them the status of your application, because some application during the 28th February meeting, not all application were approved. Some we required more information. Some has been rejected because the qualification is not a specialist qualification. So I would advise those who already submitted the pre-registration application to inquire with the secretariat. You can send an email to secretary.mdc@moh.gov.my.
Okay, sure. Thank you. And usually, how long will the process take?
What process?
For the committee to approve whether they are eligible to be registered under specialist or not?
The meeting is only half a day event where they will go through the application. So once, like I said, it depends on what the recommendation by the DSEC. So if DSEC says, okay, the qualification is listed in the list and he fulfills the qualification, then we will inform, and then it's up to the practitioner if you can send the documents fast. But if DSEC says that, we need more information, that is where the time frame will extend a bit.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sophia. I have another question here. How does private practitioner update the CPD points? I believe it's your last slide just now.
CPD point.
Yeah,
Okay.
for private practitioners, how do we update our CPD points?
So previously, how do you update your CPD points?
Previously, I was with government. So
You in the
CPD
government,
online.
you have put in my CPD, right?
Yeah.
So we would advise practitioners to register with my CPD. So my
Okay.
CPD version 2, because that is the only system that we take in the CPD points collection. Meaning that if you key in your CPD points in my CPD, yeah,
Okay.
when we want to when you apply for APC, we will be able to see whether you have the sufficient CPD points. That is the only system that is linked with our system lah. So previously it is linked with DPIMS. My CPD is linked with DPIMS. So end of the year, we will be able to see whether you have the sufficient CPD points. So the same with the new system.
Okay, but you know, previously when I was working with government, the My CPD online, we need someone, we need our ketua jabatan to sign that the CPD point is valid. Then if we private practitioner, who will be doing that?
Currently, we are in the discussion to see who is going to be the verifier. For now, the council would be the verifier for private practitioners.
So we pick our verifier as we pick council as our.
If I think if you put in private, it automatically goes to council.
Okay, all right, thank you. And actually, MDA website also has this update CPD point. That is not relevant, right? So you will still suggest we all register with My CPD online.
Yes, I would suggest you register with My CPD.
Thank you.
If in the future there is mechanism for MDA to feed the CPD points, that would be a discussion later.
Okay, thank you.
Because I am assuming for associations, you will be only verifying CPD points for your own activities, or are you, or do you also allow your members to key in points from other activities not organized by your association?
I think, can we have someone from the MDA Eastern Zone to answer to this question? Dr. Cindy, can you answer to this question?
Yes, currently the MDA actually provides certificate for all the events that we organize. For example, for today, this CPD was organized by the MDA Eastern Zone, so we will provide the CPD, and we have actually applied for the CPD points from the MDC.
Okay, no, I'm talking about you have a system. You have a system for members to key in their CPD points collection, correct?
No, our MDA system is actually a system for them to register for our events, but we don't have a platform for them to collect points. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I thought you have. Sorry.
Right. Another question that I have here is, what is the limitation for advertising?
What do you mean limitation?
There's a lot of advertising now actually on social media. And then we actually don't do it. I don't think anyone is doing anything to all the advertising. So
there are for advertising. Right. So we have a code of professional conduct. So in the code of professional conduct, we have mentioned that the practitioner is not to display fees other than within the clinic's area, right? You are not allowed to promote, you are not allowed to give discounts. So if there has been breach of the code of professional conduct, then if a complaint is made or information received, then we will have to investigate, and if the doctor is found guilty, then disciplinary punishment. So currently we have a lot of complaints or information received on advertising, right? We are the council is aware that practitioners would like to put up your fees in more than outside their clinic premises, right? So with that, the council is going to allow for fees to be displayed on the official social media page of the clinic. That is going to be in the new CPC, right? So only starting 1st July 2022, right? So, but that is only pertaining to fees. You still are not allowed to give promotion, to give discounts under the new CPC, right? So when you say what are the limitations, we are aware that a lot of practitioners or even facilities are doing advertisement in social media, but a lot of it we are handling it by conducting disciplinary inquiries currently. Yeah, so in fact, we have about 20 cases this year on advertising.
Okay, okay. So the implementation on 1st of July, but it's not out yet, right? That we
No,
the
no.
sure. So if any clinics would like to do that, we will still have to wait for the official announcement.
Yeah. Like I said, we will publish the guidelines. We have a few guidelines that is going to be published in June, yeah, to be enforced on 1st July. So that would include the Code of Professional Conduct and also the guidelines and provisions for public information, right? So just watch out for that in June and July. Although it is published in June, it only is enforced 1st July. So any offences prior to that, you have to follow the Code of Professional Conduct 2008 and the guidelines issue. Yeah.
Right. Still regarding to advertising, one of our members is asking, are we allowed to promote a certain brand or like appear in a toothpaste or toothbrush advertisement, for example?
With that question, my answer would be straight no, because that would be seen as endorsement. So that is also in the Code of Professional Conduct in terms of endorsement of product.
Okay, thank you. And what is the penalty for advertising our clinic with promotions and discount?
The penalty depends. Usually the penalty for first offense is reprimand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, under Dental Act 1971, I don't know the punishment under Dental Act 2018 because we have not tried that yet. But previously under Dental Act 1971, for first offense, it would be reprimand. So all the cases, it has been reprimand. But after that, no second offense.
Okay, so they after they take down the advertisement, everything will be fine then.
Not take down, they have been punished basically. They have been there was a proper disciplinary inquiry, and then they have been found guilty, but the punishment is reprimand.
Okay, thank you.
But I think you have to know the implication of reprimand. If you have been reprimanded, the implication is you will not be issued a letter of good standing by the council for a period, I think, about 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, so if you require a letter of good standing for reprimand, I think it is 3 years. We can't issue a letter of good
Does
standing.
that affect the APC?
No, it doesn't affect the APC.
It just affects
if you want to go. I don't know, because the letter of good standing, they use it to go overseas, either to attend courses, to take exams, to register in other regulatory body, or even when you want to do CSR in overseas, they require letter of good standing. So that would be the implication.
Of the dental specialist, they also require that good standing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next question is, what is the safeguard? What safeguard is there that private dentistry will not be overtaken by corporate bodies?
Safeguard?
Yeah.
That would not be under us. What do you mean safeguard?
It's put forward by another member actually. So the question was very straightforward. Safeguard is there any safeguard for private dentistry so that we will not be taken by corporate bodies?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to answer that. But when we have talks with the other ministry, they talk about liberalization of healthcare services, yeah. But we do try to limit saying that what the country needs now. We don't need GPs. We don't need GPs to invest in private clinic. But if you want to invest in specialist clinic, specialist hospital, that is okay. But I think that is not under the council. That is under the ministry, MITI and Ministry of Health.
Okay.
So when they call us for discussion, we just give them feedback in terms of the movement of the person. Because when they want to bring in foreign investment, definitely they want to bring in foreign practitioners. So we just give feedback on if they are foreign practitioners, the requirement is that they have to have TPC. So what are the requirements for TPC? So that is where the council is involved in terms movement of person. But in terms of the investment and all, it is not under the council.
Okay. All right. I think then the next question would be, how does the Dental Act prevent competitions that is detrimental to patient care?
Come again, Dr. Tan?
How does the Dental Act how does the Dental Act prevent competitions that is detrimental to patient care? I believe it's beauty center.
Oh, okay. How does Dental Act prevent competition? Okay. All right.
Because our act only applies to dental practitioners. It doesn't apply to non-dental practitioners.
Right. True. Okay. Dental Act 1971. It does not have enforcement power. Right. So Dental Act 2018, we have enforcement power. Right.
Okay.
So so it clearly states that what are the procedures under offences. There's provision where, sorry, I'll just. Right. So this is the act. So under offences, a person who is not registered under this act shall not practice dentistry. For the purpose of subsection 1, a person shall be deemed to be practicing dentistry within the meaning of the act if it treats or attempts to treat, professes to treat, cure, relieve pain of human teeth or oral and maxillofacial complex, attempts to perform operation or procedures on human teeth or oral maxillofacial complex, insert or attempts to fill artificial teeth or appliance. So these are the offences which is clearly defined under offences. Yeah. So with this, if a beautician or illegal practitioner does any of those specified in the offences, then they can be legal action can be taken against them by the enforcement. So this provision is not in the Dental Act 1971. So we hope that with this provision, it will empower the act to curb illegal practice. But how far? We have still yet to see, because the act is only 4 months old, I would say.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, because from what I experienced when I was still with KKM, if we want to catch all this, or you want to prove all these beauty center or fake braces that they are performing illegal dentistry, we have to caught them in act.
Yes. Yes, you have
It's still the same, right? We have to court them in act. So let's, if our MDC or enforcement officer go there and they are not doing that, so we actually can't do anything as well, right? It's still the same.
Depends, because in the act, it's also stated the instrument. Yeah, if you have the instrument, but that is going to be quite loose lah. Yeah, it says a person who is not registered under this act shall not take or use any instrument or dental material to induce any person to believe that he is qualified to practice dentistry. And then in terms of the use of dental instrument or material used exclusively by persons qualified to practice dentistry shall be deemed to be using the instrument or material to induce a person. So it is spelled out here in terms of appliance would be dental chair, dental cutting unit, forceps, dental syringe, dental mirror, or dental probe. So if you have been found to have those items, then you can be deemed to be practicing dentistry. But still, that is something that the enforcement will have to make stronger.
Yeah, because they can't go and actually raid a facilities without police, right? Put it that way.
Yes.
Go and raid with a complaint.
Yes, they have raid with police, they have raid with immigration if it's a foreigner. So those are the activities that the enforcement has done under Private Healthcare Facilities and Services Act 586. So, but that is only pertaining to facilities not registered. So now, if they have been given the power under Dental Act 2018, which means on the person, so they have two powers, one on the facility, one for the practice. So hopefully with that, we will be able to curb this illegal practice matter.
So basically, then you still need a proper
yes.
Because
that is
complaint.
Yeah, because when they bring this to court, those are the things that they need to prove to court. Yeah.
One more question. The complaint has to come from dentists, or the complaint come from the victims who have gone to the beauty center?
If it is enforcement, they would prefer that the complaint comes from the patient. Because then the patient can share the information. Yeah, how did they get the appointment? Where do they usually go? So because if you as a dentist make this complaint, it's going to be, they won't get enough information for them to do their raiding activity, investigation even. Yeah.
So actually, is the
best person to make
actually encourage the
complaint.
patients to make the complaint. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. We have one more question regarding to this as well. Why are dental spa and whitening service not covered by the Dental Act?
Why are dental
spa and whitening services not covered by the Dental Act?
I don't know whether it's going to be covered under Dental Act 2018, but under Dental Act 1971, it's not mentioned about whitening.
It's getting more common.
Yes, it is getting more common.
And there's the charges range from affordable to looking high as well.
Yeah. I don't know whether we can look into these offences and charge them under whitening. That is something that we will have to look into, because under the previous Dental Act 1971, it is not very clear in terms of whitening.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sophia. We still have some more questions coming in. Let me go through it. One of them is, I believe we have covered, but since our member is asking, I just put forward the question again. What is the penalty for a government dentist with valid APC working as a locum at a private clinic without the private clinic address on the APC?
So he's basically working without the locum
clinic.
In
He's actually basically working without a locum APC. What would be the penalty?
What would the penalty? Penalty would be, I think that would be covered under section 66. practicing without a valid APC. So I think if I'm not mistaken, I've mentioned Section 66 practices without a valid practicing certificate, a fine without imprisonment of 1 year. So that is offence.
Actually, it applies to 2%, right? The private dentist who hire the government dentist who doesn't have a locum APC.
So
and
for the locum, he can be charged practicing without a valid practicing certificate. So that is a fine of not more than 50,000 with or without imprisonment of 1 year. But for the person that employs, okay, so for that person who employs, if he practices, he can be fined under 2 charges. One is knowingly practices dentistry with that locum doctor. Yeah, so that is a fine of 20,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 6 months. And then if he is the person who employs the person, then he can be fined up to not more than 100,000 ringgit with or without imprisonment of 2 years.
Okay. All right. Okay, I see before you start locum. Okay, another question. For those who already left KKM to further study on their own, to register as a dental specialist, is it compulsory that they have to go through gazettement?
No.
No. They just have to register through the link that you mentioned just now from the MDC.
Yeah, they can get the forms and all from. So currently, because our system is not open yet, so if you are submitting the application now, you have to submit it. Payment is to be made by manually, which is in bank draft. But when the system is open, then you can pay by online. But we don't know how long the system is going to be. When is it going to be open yet? So if you want it fast, then it's advisable for you to do it manually.
Okay. And then for the next question would be for CPD accreditation, for courses or conference held overseas, how do we apply for the points to be accredited?
That would be case by case. So you submit it to the CPD secretariat and they will tell you how much point should be collected for that overseas CPD.
We just enter into the My CPD online, right?
I'm not sure if you can. Yeah, I think you can enter and then you can upload the documents.
Okay. We have to upload the certificates then.
For local
or the program.
For local program, if they have already, because the CPD has 2 functions. One is the applicant to key in their CPD points collection. Second is for provider to key in the activity so that the regulatory body can award points, right? Okay. So if the activity is already registered in the MyCPD, then it's much easier. But if it's not, then you have to submit proof that you have attended that.
We are talking about overseas course now.
Overseas course, you will when you submit, you upload the documents.
Documents, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then here, the next question is, is regarding to CSR, what is the procedure to apply for approval for dental practitioners? Is it still the same as before?
Community service?
Yeah.
Yeah, you send in the application to us, still like before.
Still the same. We just send the application to you to get the for the CSR volunteers.
Yeah.
And then you still need the details for the CSR programs and the dates.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, Dr. Sophia.
Yes.
During my previous application, I was told that the email has changed. Probably Dr. Sophia can provide with the email address for application for TPC for CSR.
What email change? What email change? Okay. I think probably because last year we were having issues with our email provider. Our email provider has changed last year. So that is why we have asked, I think, the practitioners to send email to our private
Email.
Gmail, private Gmail
Okay.
that we have created lah, which is mdcmoh@gmail.com. But now the email is fine. So I think you just go back to the normal email that you have sent, whether to mdc@moh.gov.my
Okay.
or secretary mdc@moh.gov.my. So that would be the two common emails that people send applications to.
Regarding the CSR and the TPC, what will be the implementation if the officer who attended CSR program without TPC?
Sorry, I have to get this straight.
Okay.
CSR, you
Yeah.
don't apply TPC.
Okay.
TPC is for foreign practitioners who wants to practice in Malaysia. So you don't apply because if you already have an APC
We can't hear you.
for TPC.
Okay. You break off a bit just now, Dr. Sophia. We can't hear you. So for local one, we apply for MPC, right? For the CSR.
No. You already have an APC, right?
Yes, we already have an APC.
You already have an
for
APC.
CSR.
The CSR is for you to do to practice at places which is not in your APC. So you are going to do it in some kampong, yeah.
Longhouse.
So that only requires approval from the registrar. So when the registrar approves for you to do the CSR, we don't issue you a new APC. We just say that, okay, because when the application comes in for CSR, Dr. ABCDE applies to do the CSR at Kampong X. Yeah. But when we check, only ABCD has APC, Dr. E does not have an APC. So the approval will be given only to Dr. ABCD. So E, we will inform them that you don't have an APC. If you want to do community service, you have to have an APC.
So if they have gone to the, let's say they are late in applying for the without the approval from MDC, any implication to this
I think
ABCD?
it was mentioned that you have to get approval from the registrar because under the act, because previously yeah. So now this is in that section 27. Yeah. So prior to the commencement of such community service, so you would be advised to apply prior.
Even if we do like free dental checkup in shopping mall, also we have to get that approval, right?
Yes, because we want to ensure that those doing the checking or whatever in the shopping mall is allowed to do so. They are registered practitioner and have valid practice.
What is minimum?
Less than 2 weeks? About 2 weeks?
Or 2 weeks, Okay, thank you. Okay, I hope those who are very active in CSR will get this straight this time. We have a few more questions. The next question would be, does the council have the power to investigate a dental practitioner if there's a complaint from another dental practitioner about his practice?
Yes.
Yes, So
you're saying like he's not fit to practice.
It's another dentist who complained about another dentist. Basically, that's what happened. Regarding they find they're doing something wrong to the patient. Yeah.
We have received those kind of complaints. Yes.
It's also no option to get the patient to complain, right? Sorry, come again. Okay. Is this the scenario that we're talking about? You're working in the same clinic and then you find that the doctor is doing something not right to the patient and you make the complaint? Is it something like that? I think it's a different clinic, Clinic A and Clinic B.
Okay. Because you see, if you are making allegations, you have to prove these allegations. Because you see, if a patient makes a complaint, Dr. A has extracted the wrong tooth. So he will come and say, he will tell his side of the incident lah. So and then the records and all are his documents. But if another doctor wants to make a complaint, he can make a complaint on behalf of the patient, but the patient can we still have to call the patient to verify is it true. So the burden of proving the allegation is at the complainant. So if the doctor is willing and has the enough sufficient evidence, then by all means the doctor can make the complaint.
Okay, right. Thank you. This one. Another question would be, in the event if a dental clinic ground floor wanted to
From ground floor, you want to extend ground floor and first floor.
Yeah.
Is it? That you have to ask CCAPS.
CCAPS, so it's
CCAPS.
MDT.
Yeah, CCAPS. You ask CCAPS state lah.
Okay, so I should so for this question, we will direct it to CCAPS. And the next question, are dentists allowed to become key opinion leaders for certain brands of dental companies?
What is key opinion leader?
It's like ambassador, but it's a nicer name.
Okay.
I just learned about this word very recently.
Okay. All right. Okay. If you are going to be publicly endorsing the product, I don't think it's allowed. Yeah.
For example, what if they actively promote their smile or their smile and their teeth over their own personal Facebook and own personal IG, and then when friends ask them in their messages, then they mention they are actually the key opinion leaders. How not actually publish it, but then when you ask, they will actually openly admit they are key opinion. That allowed?
Okay. I don't know. It has never been tested. So if it's like private message and you're answering to the message, then it is not considered as a public domain lah. But
because
then
they put
again,
in their own private social media.
But then a person who is seeing that can always say that, hey, Dr. A is endorsing products. He is telling people that this is good. That's very subjective. Those are things that it has to be proven. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then so it's a gray area lah. Put it there.
Yeah.
Usually I'm just going to read out straight from the message. But usually we would like to know before we attend the course held overseas will be counted towards accredited or not. Otherwise, it will be too late at the end of the year when it comes to APC renewal. Will MDC let us know our submitted course will be attended too?
So you want to know, you want the confirmation that that course is is eligible for you to accumulate points.
Yeah.
I think you can send it to the council. I mean the MDC, the CPD secretary to ask whether that course is going to be eligible for you to collect CPD points.
You say we email to the mdc.mog.gov.com, right? That email, right, directly?
No. For CPD, we have a different email. For CPD, we have mdccpd@moh.gov.my. So that is specifically for CPD.
So individual dentists can just actually email to that email and ask whether it's eligible for CPD or not.
Yeah, you can ask. Okay,
thank you, Dr. Sophia. Do we have any more questions from the floor? I have read out all the questions from the floor by now. Do we still have any more coming in? Dr. Cindy, Dr. Cindy, our chairman, would you like to comment something or say something in this for this CPD?
So far, nothing for me. I think so far so good. We have actually acquired quite a lot of information for this morning. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sophia.
Thank you.
We have one more question coming in, which I think is in the mind of everyone, but only one person start asking now. What will happen when CPD become mandatory in 2025? if we fail to fulfill hours for that year, can catch up following years?
Okay. What I mentioned is CPD is going to be mandatory 2025, meaning we will be looking at your 2023 CPD points
Which is next year.
next year. Yeah, because there's a gap. 2023, meaning that for 2025, when it is enforced, we won't be looking at 2024 CPD points, because we know that for application of APC, it must be no later than 1st November to avoid the late fee charges. So we know that some CPD activities are still running in November and December. Yeah, so that is one. Secondly, in 2023, yeah, if you don't have the sufficient CPD points, then you by 31st December, you would already know that you don't have enough CPD points, right? So you can, in 2024, you can make an appeal, right? So the decision is up to the council. Probably we will have I don't know. I don't know what the recommendation or the council is going to be, but we take note that this is new. So we are not going to say that 2023 you don't have enough CPD points, 2025 you won't get CPD. That's not going to happen for 2025. That I am quite sure. We still have to create this awareness for practitioners and allow them to familiarize with having CPD as a requirement for APC. So if you don't have the, what we are advising is 2023, please make sure you have you have enough CPD points, so that when you apply in 2024, when you apply for 2025 APC, you can get an APC automatically. So if you do not have the enough CPD points, then you have to appeal, and then you have to wait for the decision of the council, what you have to do before you can be given a 2025 APC, right? So that is something to consider.
The CPD point is 30 points, right?
Well, at the initial discussion, what was decided was to be in line with medical. So at that point of time, I think medical was still 20 CPD.
20.
Yeah.
So we will be 20 as well.
For now, I think we are still holding on to 20.
Oh,
But we will inform officially once the council has decided how many points should you collect for 2023.
When will we roughly know this?
I think before 2023.
Oh, okay, sure. And then another question is, what is the advantage of recording the CPT point prior to 2023?
What are the advantage?
Yeah.
I think it's familiarization, getting used to having CPD. If you suddenly you are not used to attending CPD, then 2023 is going to be mandatory, and then you will be you have to attend, and then you have to find out where you want to key in your CPD. So this is just a familiarization period currently.
Okay. So it will be good that everyone start to register with the CPD, my CPD online, and get familiarized.
Get their self familiarized with the system.
Okay. Someone actually mentioned here, I'm just going to read out. Suggestion to MDC to overcome this problem is to mimic GDC in UK, which use a 5-year cycle instead of 1-year cycle.
Yeah, we are aware of GDC system where there are cycles. That can be looked into it. Okay.
And then another question here is, but I believe this one Dr. Sophia has covered. Never mind, I just read out. What another member of us mentioned, what if we do not get enough CPT points in 2023, let's say due to sickness, like unforeseen circumstances? I think in that case, we just personally write in for appeal.
Yeah, you just appeal. You just write in to say that 2023, you didn't attend CPD activities, or you have, but only 10 points, 5 points, and then with supporting documents why you did not you did not attend these activities, then it's up to the council or the board to deliberate on it.
Okay, we have one question regarding to dental therapists here. What evaluation does dental surgeon need to do before hiring a dental therapist?
Make sure they are registered.
Okay.
Make sure that they have a certificate. So if the certificate states that they are registered as a dental therapist, then direct supervision and also only procedures in 5th schedule. So if they are post-basic dental therapists, then direct supervision and procedures in 5th schedule and 6th schedule only pertaining to the discipline. They don't have compulsory service. For therapists, there's no compulsory service.
Okay.
So if because currently all the dental therapists are from ILKKM, so they are for KKM consumption. Yeah. So if in the event later in the future there are universities who produces dental therapists, these dental therapists after they're graduated, they can straight away go to private. They don't have compulsory service.
Another question here is, how do I register my CPD online? The
You
link
have to go to my CPD
website, right?
Yeah, I think it's my CPD version, my CPD moh.gov.my.
Okay, so everyone, you can go to MDC website and find out where is the My CPD online.
So if you are not pro online, then you have to submit your proof of CPD activities manually, meaning you have to send in the forms, the certificates to us manually.
Dr. Stephanie Sim just shared the link to My CPD 2 online here in the chat box. So those of you who think you are not a pro online, you can set this link now and click on it after this. Do we still have any questions? We still have 5 more minutes with Dr. Sophia. So do we still have any more questions from the floor?
Hi, good morning, Dr. Sophia.
Morning.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask, just now you mentioned that this My CPD 2 is also for providers as well to register their events. So like for MDA Eastern Zone or MDA as a whole, we often have CPDs or congresses. So after we apply and we get the approval for the points, does it mean that we need to register our events online, or will MDC automatically insert that into the system?
Sorry, come again. Because when you register as a provider, you will register your activity. Yeah, and then in the activity, if I'm not mistaken, you will have to put in who are your participants. So if you put dental surgeon, then the activity will go to MDC. So at MDC, we will verify and approve. Then you will be given a point by the system.
Or automatically given a point by the system for your participants. Oh, I see.
Yeah, MDC will give the points in through the system.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So that means we need to register ourselves as the provider first before we can use this function. Is it? Does it?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
We have another question from the floor, but this is nothing to do with Dr. Sophia. It's more for our team. Can we get recorded version of this session or slide later? I believe you can, but let us, as the MDA Eastern Zone, discuss about this, how you can all get this from us. Because Dr. Sophia has agreed for us to record her sessions today. Okay, I can accept one more last question from the floor before we close this session. Do we have any more one last question? So if we do not have any more questions from the floor, Dr. Cindy, would you like to say something about this, comment anything about this CPD session before I close the session as well for today?
I think there's another
there's another question.
Two more questions in the chat box.
Okay, 2 more questions. Okay, number 1 is, I usually have CPD with Colgate, 3M, Viva Learning. Can this be included in our CPD? Yeah, I think this company, they do their own online CPD. I also receive some of their invitations.
You can. What we are trying, we want to discourage is more on CPD that is product based. Yeah, so if it's general CPD, then that's fine.
They can
Because
just
I'm not sure about, I know Colgate 3M. I'm not sure about Viva Learning, but if it's just general, how to handle sensitive teeth and whatnot, I think that should be fine.
we just key in into my CPD online and let MDC evaluate whether we can get approval for CPD points in this case.
Yeah.
Another question here is, how about dental therapists with no post-basic oral surgery? Can they still practice in clinic pakar? Do we mean clinic pakar government?
Private?
Yeah, or private? Madam
If,
Julia.
I think they can practice both in government or
Private.
Yeah. But like private, the limitation is direct supervision and the scope of practice. Clinic pakar, if you're talking about government, they have to be under supervision of a practitioner. So they can. Oh, okay. I see the question now. Are you saying no post-basic oral surgery, clinic pakar, in clinic pakar, KP
I
or
think it meant in
hospital?
government. Yeah.
No post-basic oral surgery practice. I think they can. They can practice in even hospital. But I'm not sure whether hospital is going to give them credentialing and privileging, because government hospital, they have that. They can do credentialing and privileging. That would be under the state prerogative.
And one last comment here in the chat box is just this small non-variable type after key in CPD, how soon they will let us know it's counted or not. I believe it's after we key in into our MyCPD online, how soon MDC let us know whether the CPD point can be accredited or claimed.
Yeah, currently, I think it will take some time because we don't actively go into the MyCPD every day. So it will be probably 1 month after that, or if it's towards the end, then end of the year, probably we'll be doing it actively, verifying CPD.
I'm seeing in view of our number of dentists that is getting bigger and bigger in Malaysia, and MDC number of members is not increasing. This is going to be a very heavy burden for you, Dr. Sophia, and your team.
You're talking about
our
no, council members is different, staff is different. Yeah, but the staff is not increasing in line with the practitioners.
Yeah.
But with the new act, we are asking for new more staff, especially with the inclusion of the Dental Therapists Board. Thank you for the concern. We are aware of this, and we are looking into that. Yeah.
Because I can imagine, few of you going through 6,000 of us.
And that is also in view of the APC registration. So we only have about, I think about four PTs looking into this.
Okay. 4 PTs looking at the whole Malaysia.
Yeah, about 13,000 APCs.
So I hope all the members here, we have to give our MDC a bit of time when they reply to us, because they only have 4 clerks replying to all of us here.
4 clerks and about 6 officers. Anyway, we do take note that APC usually doesn't go to Sabah Sarawak. I mean, we do send out, but every time we keep receiving emails and queries from practitioners in Sabah Sarawak not receiving APC. But we did send them. So if you do not receive them, then you can request for us to send it again.
Okay. Right.
If you request it urgent, if it's urgent, we can facilitate by sending a soft copy, but we will send out the hard copy again. I think I've realized this for the past 10 years that I've been working in council. Sabah, Sarawak, it doesn't take first attempt to reach the practitioner. It takes a few attempts actually for us to send the APC. And we do take note of that, and we are also looking into whether we are going to allow practitioners to print their own APC via the new system. So that's something that we are looking into.
Thank you, Dr. Sophia. All right, it's already 10:34 on my laptop screen here. I believe I'm going to close the session now. Thank you so much, Dr. Sophia. On behalf of MDA Eastern Zone, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking your time from your busy schedule to be our guest speaker today. I really appreciate it. And I believe all of us actually learned a lot today in the Dental Act 2018.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
We can have a group photo.
Yeah. Shall we switch on our camera so that we all can take a group photo, please? Can everyone switch on your camera, please, so that we can take a group photo?
Okay.
So while you all get ready to switch on your camera to take your group photo, I'm just going to read out some announcement. To all participants, MDA Eastern Zone actually prepared some upcoming events in Sabah and Sarawak. In Sarawak, on the 8th and 9th of October 2022, which is this year, it's actually a long weekend, public holiday weekend. We will have our homegrown workshop series 2022. And in Sabah, for next year, 10 to 12 of March 2023, we will be having our 11th Borneo Dental Congress. So all members, kindly mark your calendars and set the dates for our event, please. Some of our members haven't switched on their camera. Camera on, please. I hope, okay, those in pajamas, maybe you do not want to switch on your camera. I guess it's okay.
Yeah, it's a holiday here in Sabah and Sarawak.
Yeah, I know.
I got some private message that they are in pajamas and they don't want to switch.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, you want to count before we snapshot everyone?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Are we ready for the next page? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Another page. 1, 2, 3. One more page. 1, 2, 3. Are we done? Oh, we still have one more page. Are we done? Done, huh? Okay, all right. That's all, everyone. Happy good.
Thank you.